this particular piece in response to the theme of Brigadoon, which was the idea of the romantic notion of place. Instead of using that, I wanted to romanticize travel, because I'm a little bit more interested in explorers and when they go to new countries, the way they respond to indigenous people. So when I was researching travel, I was thinking mostly about kind of the sort of the transition from land travel to aviation, and I came across these guys, the Montgolfier brothers. They sort of manned the first hot air balloon that travelled over the French and British channels, and that was really what the work was about. Kind of an ode to the Montgolfier brothers.
Well, Juliet was the one who came up with the title Brigadoon, and I think you obviously, as a fellow Scot, will understand that I was kind of dubious about it, because I think it has certain connotations of like kind of music halls, pantomimes. It's like a Scottish kind of, you feel like you have ownership of it. So I wasn't very sure about the title, but then basically when we talked it over and she kind of put it to me that it was just about a romantic idea of place and a kind of sentimental idea of setting, or like almost kind of veering into like the ridiculous, which the kind of clip from Brigadoon which we sent out to people, that sort of implied. Then I felt like, yeah, we could definitely run with this, and I think everyone has responded to it really well, and I think that's what I was kind of going for with my painting was I have this book that I've been using when I was doing my degree, and it was just like the idea of like almost obviously kind of a soft porn sort of feel, like this ridiculous kind of prairie girl sort of idyll, and then a kind of, you know, just a sort of definitely a sort of Americana landscape again, but yeah, just to tie in with this idea of like just an over romanticized notion of setting.
Well, I've been making these paper cubes for a little while now, and my work's always been about taking sort of pretty ordinary objects and trying to sort of use them in a way sculpturally. So I've been taking using this because as an image, this looks quite it's quite boring, and people can make sort of associations with sort of stacks of paper and with office work and businesses and things like that. So to have what looks like just a stack of paper, it's quite minimalist and that sort of thing straight away. So by carving these out in a sort of precise manner and then creating I guess a small gallery on the inside of it was always quite exciting. So trying to relate this to the brief was quite easy for me, because it's not so much a place in a sense for me. It's more well, this is a place within a structure, within an object. So I thought it'd be really good to get involved with this show.
I have 4 pieces on display. The first is this cabinet. It's an installation in itself. It's got some old shoes that I've had for years, and they just have so many memories attached to them. I've used them as a found object. Yeah, and I have these keys. Thought behind it is that there's obviously this lock, and there are so many keys. There's a bit of a sort of decision making which one is the right one, and that links to Brigadoon in that Brigadoon only appears every 100 years. It's like sort of locked up or kept out of reach, almost as if you could get into the secret city if you'd found the
key. So the brief was to kind of create something that was romanticising the landscape. So I decided to try and do that, but also try and do the opposite, like to create like kind of scenes that maybe could be seen as romantic, but I think the actual like the essence of them isn't so romantic, because a lot of them are taken from like kind of historical sources of like kind of like broken down landscapes in a way. So I think in a painterly way they might be like seen as being romantic, but I think in a more conceptual sense they're kind of more real than that in a way.
Yeah, a lot of my work starts from source material which I come across and find some sort of resonance with, and have just a very basic sort of instinct to paint really, and from that then it takes a sort of journey between the paint and the application of it, and just basically enjoying paint and seeing where that goes. This painting is quite similar to the photograph by Alex Soth, who's a Magnum photographer, and so it began by looking at that, and then the creatures and the landscape just developed as I painted really. But yeah, a lot of it is just about enjoying paints. It's not anything particularly meaningful, conceptual. It just starts from paint. I work oil on board mainly, so it's just going with the application.